On the 21st of November 2024, the International Criminal Court has taken an extraordinary step to issue arrest warrants for 3 prominent figures in the Israel-Palestinian war and conflict. These include Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's Prime Minister, Yoav Galant, the former Defense Minister, and Mohammed Daif, a top commander of Hamas's military wing. The allegations against all 3 are grave and serious. They're accused of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity, violations that strike at the heart of international law. But what exactly are these charges? Why do they matter? Can other leaders also be issued with international arrest warrants for allegations of complicity in these international crimes? And what do these arrest warrants tell us about the state of global justice and the rules-based international order if these arrest warrants are not enforced? Let me explain the charges against Netanyahu and Galant first. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's Prime Minister, and Yoav Galant, Israel's former Defense Minister, face charges of crimes against humanity and war crimes. According to the ICC's press statement, these alleged crimes occurred between October the 8th, 2023 and May the 20th, 2024, the date when the arrest warrants were first applied for. 3 international crimes are mentioned in the ICC statement: the war crime of starvation as a method of warfare, crimes against humanity, murder, persecution, and other inhumane acts. And the chamber also found reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Galant each bear criminal responsibility as civilian superiors for the war crime of intentionally directing an attack against the civilian population. Let me now turn to the charges against Mohammed Daif. Mohammed Daif, the commander of Hamas's military wing, faces charges for his role in what the chamber refers to as the 7th of October operation. 2 international crimes are mentioned in the ICC statement: crimes against humanity, murder, extermination, torture, and sexual violence, and war crimes, murder, cruel treatment, hostage taking, outrages upon personal dignity, and rape and other forms of sexual violence. The chamber found reasonable grounds to believe that Mr. Daif bears criminal responsibility for the aforementioned crimes. For 1, having committed the acts jointly and through others; 2, having ordered or induced the commission of the crimes; and 3, for his failure to exercise proper control over forces under his effective command and control. Now, another significant question is, could other leaders be implicated? Well, the implications of these charges could extend beyond these 3 individuals named. Leaders and officials from other nations who provide military, financial, or logistical support to Israel or to Hamas could face scrutiny and international arrest under the principle of complicity, that is, aiding and abetting these international alleged crimes. This raises uncomfortable questions for countries supplying weapons or funding to either side of the conflict post the issuance of the international arrest warrants, and even before they were issued in the first place. The significance of the arrest warrants should not be therefore overlooked. In one respect, the ICC's decision to pursue these cases demonstrates its commitment to upholding justice, even in a politically sensitive conflict and war like this one. These warrants also challenge the very structure of international order. They place high-ranking state officials and non-state leaders under scrutiny, highlighting the ICC's intent to eliminate impunity. Yet there is an obvious question: can these arrest warrants be enforced? And one of the ICC's continuing struggles is the issue of enforcement. Now, while 124 countries are party or have agreed to the jurisdiction of the ICC, key players like Israel, the United States, China, and Russia are not. As a consequence, Netanyahu and Galant are unlikely to face immediate arrest unless they travel to a country that recognizes the ICC's jurisdiction. Daif, based in Gaza, operates in a territory largely beyond ICC's enforcement mechanisms, and there are some reports that he has been killed. And if past records are to go by, ICC warrants aren't taken seriously yet. Past ICC warrants, such as those against Milosevic, or Omar al-Bashir went unenforced for years, highlighting the political and practical limitations of international justice. Their arrests became effective once they left or were removed from power. And the question is, will this happen to leaders of Israel and Hamas? And then there is the arrest warrant, which is still outstanding against the Russian leader, yet to be enforced. There are, of course, other potential actions by other countries now these arrest warrants have been issued. Even if arrests against these three men remain unlikely, countries could take other alternative measures, such as 1. Sanctions. Historical precedents exist where sanctions follow ICC arrest warrants. For instance, the US imposed, ironically, sanctions on ICC prosecutors investigating alleged crimes in Afghanistan. And similar economic and political sanctions could be applied to individuals implicated in war crimes and crimes against humanity or genocide. And 2, suspension of arms sales. Israel is a major recipient of military hardware from countries like the US. The US alone provides its reported over $3 billion annually in military aid, including advanced systems like the Iron Dome and so-called precision-guided ammunitions. As for the UK and Germany, they continue to supply weapons to Israel, and there's no sign that they will stop with these arrest warrants now being issued. Suspending such sales would be a significant step, but geopolitical alliance make this extremely unlikely. And 3, travel restrictions. Countries recognizing the ICC could refuse entry to Netanyahu and Galant or impose diplomatic restrictions on Israel. These measures, while symbolic, could signal international disapproval of alleged crime, but again, unlikely to be implemented without significant public pressure and even court legal action being taken. There have been a number of reactions to the arrest warrants, and these reactions have been polarized. Netanyahu dismissed the warrants as anti-Semitic and political, while Galant argued that the ICC undermines Israel's security and the right to defend itself from Hamas. Hamas reportedly welcomed the move, overdue in the process of holding accountable Israel's actions. And other international response varied. The US said the arrest warrants were outrageous and an overreach of the court. In the UK, the Labour government appears to be muted in its response. A Number 10 spokesman refused to comment on the specific case, but said the government would fulfil its legal obligations. And the EU foreign policy chief said that the ICC warrants for Netanyahu and Galant are not political, and the court decision should be respected and implemented. And Turkey said that the decision to issue arrest warrants was a positive decision. Now, to conclude, while these arrest warrants should be remembered as not having proven anything, yet these arrest warrants represent a bold move by the ICC to hold leaders accountable for alleged violations of international law. But they also expose the court's limitation, relying on political cooperation to enforce its rulings. Ultimately, the ICC, it is said, is on trial. Can the ICC enforce the arrest warrants and deliver justice in the face of fierce political resistance? Or does its reliance on state cooperation make it powerless against the very injustices its purpose seeks to address? This case is not just about Netanyahu, Galant and Daif. It is a litmus test for the entire international legal order. Will global justice prevail, or will impunity continue to shield the powerful? The world is watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment and subscribe to Community Legal Education. Thank you for watching.